Hey, I wanted to take a few minutes and talk with you about the power of blessing. There's a powerful Jewish tale that illustrates the power of our words and how difficult it is to reverse harmful speech. The setting's a small Eastern European town where a local inhabitant continually slanders the rabbi, and one day, realizing the wrongfulness of his behavior, he asked the rabbi for forgiveness and offered to perform penance required to make amends. What can I do to make this better? And the rabbi told him to fetch a feather pillow, to cut it open and to scatter the feathers to the wind and then come back. The man followed the rabbi's instructions. He went and got a feather pillow and he cut it open and he scattered the feathers to the wind, and then he came back and asked the rabbi, "Am I now forgiven?" The rabbi said, "Well, there's one more thing that you have to do. Now I want you to go and gather all the feathers." "But that's impossible," the man protested. "The wind has already scattered them." "Exactly," explained the rabbi. "And although you truly wish to correct the evil that you have spoken, it is as impossible to repair the damage done by your words as it is to recover the feathers." I want to remind us about the power of words. Words are powerfully destructive or powerfully creative, and we have the gift of words. We get to choose the words that we bring into the world. A book by Tim Muehlhoff titled "I Beg to Differ: Navigating Difficult Conversations with Truth and Love" reminds us of the importance of our words. He reminds us how much the Proverbs have to say about our words. Here's what he says. "The ancient writers whose words make up the book of Proverbs agree about the power of words, using vivid metaphors to describe the impact. The words of the reckless pierce like swords," they say in Proverbs 12:18. "And a word spoken in the wrong way can break a bone," Proverbs 25:15. "A person's spirit is easily crushed by a deceitful tongue," Proverbs 15:4. "Just as the north wind can bring driving rain, so a sly tongue evokes an angry response," Proverbs 25:23. "In plotting evil, a scoundrel's speech is like a scorching fire," Proverbs 16:27. "Not only can negative words separate close friends," Proverbs 16:28, "but a whole city can be disrupted by mockery," Proverbs 29:8. Old Testament scholar David Hubbard argues that what these ancient writers want us to most understand about language is that the tongue is literally a lethal weapon to others and ourselves. He goes on further to quote Proverbs 18:21, which says, "The tongue has the power of life and death, and those who love it will eat its fruit." Finally, and these words are so powerful, particularly as it comes to learning the art of having our words be words of blessings, imparting life through our words is a craft that involves the ability to offer a blessing rather than curse, seeking common ground rather than exploiting differences, and being committed to dwell with others in community. Seen in this way, our conversations can be life-sustaining. Words can either be creative or they can be destructive. In the Genesis creation story, we're told, "And God said, 'Let there be.'" The world was spoken into existence. The words that we speak to others and over others are powerful in either creating or destroying. Even the words that we speak to ourselves are powerful in either creating or destroying. And the words we speak into the world around us are powerful in either creating and destroying. We have so many avenues to speak words into our world these days, and we need to be careful about the words that we choose to use. We've been inviting people at Moses Lake Christian Church to walk their neighborhoods and to pray and offer blessing over their neighbors. And maybe you're watching this from another neighborhood in another town in another part of the world. Maybe you'd commit to walking and praying through your neighborhood. I decided to take a video today in my neighborhood because I actually do walk this neighborhood every day and almost every day, probably not every day. And it's about a 3-mile loop, and I pray for my neighbors. We would love for our whole city to be covered in prayer. But perhaps you're wondering, well, how do I pray for my neighbors? How do I offer blessing? And of course, there are many ways to pray for others, and you may not need any help, but if you want to think of a pattern that you could use, you might find this one helpful. So let me just encourage you first, Ask the Holy Spirit to give you the words to pray and to bless before you begin. Before you walk out your door, just ask God to meet you by His Holy Spirit and give you the words to pray. And then pray those words. And maybe you're saying, well, how do I know which words are the words from God? How do I know which ones are from Him? Well, you'll know because God's words are words that build up, and they're words that edify, and they're words that encourage, they're words that bless. And so those words are always going to be in line with God's heart. But here's what we know. The Holy Spirit knows our needs even more than we do. And the Holy Spirit knows the needs of the people around us more than we do. And so we want people to receive the blessing that God wishes to pour out on them. His insight, not ours. His words, not ours. And so ask God to give you the words to speak over your friends and over your neighbors as you walk your neighborhood. Ask Him to show you the way to pray and to bless. And the second thing is we want to bless the whole person. So here's a simple acronym that you may find helpful in offering blessing. It may help you to be creative in offering prayer and blessings to other people. Use the word bless. Start with B, body. Our bodies, our health, our protection, our strength. You can pray this. You can offer words of blessing over your neighborhood for health and for freedom from this virus during this time in particular. L, labor, work, income, security. That's a big issue in this crisis. There are many people out of work, and it's going to be challenging for some economically. Pray for labor, for work that's blessing their lives and providing what they need. And then E, their emotional health, the joy and peace, hope, that they wouldn't live in despair. And then S, social structures. Pray for and bless the love that they feel, their marriages, their families, their friends, the relationships that they have around them. And then the final S is their spiritual life. Pray that they would hear God's voice, that they would see good things happening around them, that they would recognize Him at work, that their salvation would be firm to their mind, that they would experience faith and grace and strength in a time of weakness. You know, we can use this simple pattern in praying and offering blessing over our families, our friends, leaders in our community, leaders in our state, leaders in our country, and leaders in the world. We can speak these words of blessing over so many. Words are powerful, and we live in a time when there are a lot of really destructive words wreaking havoc in our communities and our nation and our world. Let's let our words be creative and healing, building up, encouraging, and loving. I hope this is helpful. Peace of Christ go with you as you walk your neighborhoods and as you offer blessing over people around you.